I'm Jess, and today I have a whole series review for you, and that is of the Darkest Minds series. I did do a review of the second book in this series, Never Fade, just after I finished it, and I will link that down below, but Never Fade will be reviewed in this one too. So the first bit of it will be non-spoilery for the people that have not read Darkest Minds, and these are my favourite books series. I think this is my favourite book series. I think I really just enjoy this series. I think it's so lighthearted yet with such a serious concept, and it's basically about this it's semi-modern day America, and a disease has broke out called IAAN, and it basically kills kids, and the kids that do not die get powers, and they're classified as green, blue, yellow, orange and red, and our main character is orange, and she's one of the dangerous ones, and she gets put in this sort of concentration camp, and we're with her in the concentration camp when she's quite young, and then we skip to when she's about 16, which is where the story spends most of its time. It follows her and a group of other people with different types of powers, and it's a really good book, and it's got really good characters, and they sort of try and make light of the situation that they found themselves in, because the adults are all scared of them, and when they're outside these camps, there are a group of adults called skip tracers who are trying to put them back into the camps for money, and so basically they're trying to avoid these skip chasers and avoid being put back into these concentration camps, and sort of trying to figure out the way their life works right now. And it's really good. I really love this series. I cannot recommend it more. I think it's one of the series that if someone comes to me and says, I want to read something, what do I read? This is one of the ones I give them straight away, because it's not too hard to figure out. You sort of can get what's going on straight away, but it's also really interesting and gripping and fast-paced. It is quite a long one. It's about 500 pages, but it goes by so quickly that you barely realise it's 500 pages. So next in the series is the novella, which is In Time, which looks like that. And it follows a character from The Darkest Minds called Zoo, and I cried at it. It's about 100 pages long, but I definitely recommend reading the series in its order with the novellas and all, because in Never Fade, spoiler warning for people that have not read The Darkest Minds, because in Never Fade you're sort of wondering where Zoo is, because she's left at the end of The Darkest Minds, and you sort of spend the book wondering where she is, and if you read In Time you sort of know where she is, which is really good, because it kind of keeps you out of that turmoil of, I want Zoo back, where is she, I wonder if she's okay, because you sort of know she's okay, or not okay, you sort of just know. So next we go on to Never Fade, which has it picks up 6 months after The Darkest Minds, and I don't have it at the minute, so I will just put the cover here, but I'm lending it out to a friend. It picks up 6 months after the events of the last book, and it follows Ruby at the Children's League at the beginning of it. It's a really fast-paced book, and Alexandra Bracken keeps you guessing about where Liam is for a long time, and you also meet other characters like Cole and Beta and Jude and Nico, who are just lovely and have so many different characteristics. I think the best bit about this series is that none of the characters are exactly alike. None of them are just underdeveloped and are just side characters. They all seem proper fleshed out and really real people, and I think that is my favourite bit about this entire series. But I'm not going to say too much about Never Fade, because I do have a review where I say all of my thoughts on everything, so yeah, link down below. And then I read Sparks of Rise, which is the novella from Sam's point of view, who we meet in the first book. And I really love this novella. It was so interesting to find out what happens to Sam, and I think you really need to read it to get In the Afterlight. There's a lot of things about the novella in the Afterlight, and I feel like if you don't read it, you will miss out on some references in the Afterlight, and I always like getting references. But also it's such a sweet story, and so tragic, and it kept up with the crying in every single one of the books in this series thing. I cried at The Darkest Minds, In Time, Never Fade, Sparks Rise, and In the Afterlight. This is the last book in the series, and I was really nervous going into this, not because I don't trust Alexandra Bracken, but because I couldn't foresee a way that this was going to get wrapped up in a conclusion that really satisfied me. But Alexandra Bracken really, really just did it. This picks up exactly where the last one left off. It's probably like a couple of days, a couple of hours. It never really specifies, but it's not a long time after Never Fade finishes. And while this book is probably the least fast-paced, it's sort of like Mockingjay in the time that this gives Ruby a chance to reflect on everything that's happened in the last two books, which she hasn't really had time to do. But it's also a lot better than Mockingjay because there's a lot of really good character development, and it's not just Ruby feeling sorry for herself, even though she does that quite a lot. She's also getting up and doing what she has to do, and maybe sort of ignoring her relationship with Liam, to my frustration a little bit. But I can see why she's doing it, and I think that's why Ruby is such a good character, because you can see her reasoning for things, even if you don't quite agree with what she's doing. You can see why she's doing it. You can see why she's doing it to help her friends, to keep everyone safe. And I think that's a really important thing about this book, is that Ruby really just thinks about her decisions, even the stupid ones. She has rationalized them in her own head, even if they're stupid. We spend a lot of time with Cole in this book, which I liked because he wasn't very, he was fleshed out in Never Fade, but we didn't really see him a lot, and I liked that we spent some time with him, but I do wish we'd spent more time with Liam, just because I'm a big Liam fan, but my friend's a big Cole fan, so she will enjoy this book. But I really enjoyed it. I gave every single book in the series, including the novellas, 5 stars. That's how good this series is. It really is my favourite series, I think. I'm pretty sure it's one of my favourite series. It's on my favourite shelf. It's my favourite series, I think. I keep saying I think, but I'm pretty sure it's my favourite series. And yeah, I'm so glad I read these books, and I will probably reread them a lot. I mean, I reread The Darkest Minds and Never Fade this month for preparation for the end and the Afterlight, and I loved them so much the second time, and I'm glad I reread them because I don't think I would have remembered all of the things that happened in those books for this book. So that was my review of the Darkest Minds series, and I really, really think you should all check it out. It's so, so good. I would definitely recommend it 100%, and I will see you next time.